Hello, and welcome to episode 15 of The Comic Conspiracy. We are back for one more episode. My name is Ryan Higgins.
And I'm Brock Sager.
Thank you, Brock.
We've never actually gotten that down.
Yeah, it's
you always pause, and I'm like, am I supposed to say something, or am I supposed to wait for you to say, and joined by my co-conspirator? So we've never really got that down.
Yeah, we'll figure it out one of these days.
Yeah, eventually.
We're going to have hopefully a short episode this week. Besides, it's kind of quiet week. You got San Diego Comic-Con coming up in a few weeks, so not too much news. Apparently, roofers fell through my roof or something, so there's a giant hole in my roof. I need to go home and
I thought it was an indentation.
Or a giant indentation of some form, plus the roofers have decided
looks like superheroes were fighting and they dented your roof.
From the way my girlfriend made it sounds like, that's exactly what it sounds like. So that's exactly what happened. So
you'll have to take some pictures and post them.
God, yeah, this is wonderful. And they raised our rent, too. Congratulations.
Yay!
You get a broken roof, knocked over shit, and a raised rent. So wonderful.
Gotta love living here.
So if you hear a cell or if I don't respond, it's because my girlfriend's calling me on the trouble alert line with trouble. It's trouble, Jerry. It's trouble.
What?
Nothing. Trouble alert?
Huh?
The old Super Friends?
I never watched it.
Okay. You should.
I know. There's a lot of stuff I should watch.
One of these days, we'll get you to watch some Super Friends.
I know.
We got one quick email here from Steve B. He says he loves the podcast, been listening since the very first episode.
Thank you.
Two quick questions. One, what are you doing, if anything, for Comic-Con this month? I'll be attending for the second time in as many years, and I'm just curious. I'm actually going for the very first time. I've never been to Comic-Con before. For those of you who know, the big San Diego Comic Convention. It's San Diego every year. What are they on, like 30 some odd now? It's been running for a long time.
I have no idea. I've never been.
It is usually the end of July. It is the biggest, I believe it's the biggest comic convention in the world. There may be some like those crazy conventions in Japan, but as far as like American conventions go, It's definitely the biggest here. It's
an American-based comic book convention.
Yeah. It's
okay. The biggest American-based comic book convention is New York.
Well, I was going to say
this is the biggest media alternative. This is the biggest Wizard magazine. Because they used to call Wizard magazine like the men's, didn't Wizard used to have like things at the top that said like men's alternative magazine or something?
Oh, for like 2 months at the very end of their life, Wizard tried to be like the men's
magazine.
The men's alternative magazine or something dumb. I mean, calling San Diego Comic-Con a Comic-Con is not really. No. I mean, I looked at the schedule, and there's a handful of things I want to go do. But it's mostly
it's a merchandise
TV,
media
TV. Well, actually, it's funny because start over this real quick. Yes, I'm going to Comic-Con. It's actually my very first time. The reason this is my very first time is, generally speaking, everyone else in the store goes to Comic-Con, and I've been stuck working Comic-Con week for. When did I start working here? 1997.
Yeah.
So since 1997, I've worked Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday every year for Comic-Con because everyone else went. Finally, the last couple years since I bought the store back in 2006, we've had a couple people switch over in shifts. A couple people can't go. Our lovely co-host Brock here is taking one for the team.
Taking the bullet.
He's taking a chubby for the team.
How is it chubby?
I don't know.
I get to sit around comic books and sell shit and troll on the internet and
one
be
of
a hater.
Our hopeful new employees plus Brock is going to man the station for me while I'm gone.
Let's hope the new employee.
Yeah.
Hope.
So I'll be. So me and my girlfriend, we're actually going 2 days. Just go to the city. We're going to spend a day at the zoo. Just a day in downtown, and then Saturday and Sunday we're going to do the convention. Going through the list, there are comic book things to do there as far as panels, but it's very small. I mean, the majority of the panels are television and movies, and less movies this year. A lot of the movie guys pulled out. There's no big Disney thing. Marvel has no Avengers stuff there. I didn't see any Superman stuff there, no Batman stuff. A lot of the big movie guys have pulled out, and I think it's just because, look, the people that are going to see these movies are going to Comic-Con already.
Yeah.
Getting them hyped up is cool, but if you're spending millions of dollars to preach to the choir, like, what's the point?
Well, I think at least with DC, they've figured that out with WonderCon, because they pumped the shit out of Green Lantern at that, and we
think,
saw what happened with that.
I think WonderCon is still okay.
No, WonderCon's great.
Because
I enjoyed it this year.
The audience at WonderCon is, one, it's a little bit smaller, a lot smaller in this case, and two, it's not nearly as expensive. San Diego has gotten so expensive. I think even though San Francisco is probably more expensive than San Diego as far as the city goes, going to the convention, they spend millions and millions of dollars for these booths and the setup and all the press screening because they have so much other stuff to compete with. It just doesn't make financial sense for them to keep doing this. So it seems like they're doing a lot of TV. I know Simpsons, Futurama, Family Guy, American Dad, Venture Brothers, a ton of the animation stuff. Vampire Diaries is going to have some stuff there. God, just pull up the list. There's tons. Yeah. Basically, every Fox, every CW. What else? Chuck. I know you like Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck's great.
What else is going to be there? Yeah, a lot of TV stuff.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. They're premiering some new stuff. The only thing we have on the schedule to do for sure is we're going to, assuming we can get into the panel, we're going to do the back-to-back Futurama and Simpsons panels, which, as much as I would love to go to the Simpsons panel, we are going to stay there. The Futurama panel ends, and 2 minutes later, the Community panel starts at the same time as the Simpsons panel.
Dude, you got to go to the Community panel.
It's either Futurama and Simpsons or Community.
Do Community.
We can't. We're going to do Futurama and Simpsons. Community, it's the whole cast. I mean, that would be a lot of fun.
Dude.
But we're going to do Futurama and Simpsons.
Oh, you're gay.
No.
You're dumb.
I still like The Simpsons.
You're dumb.
And Futurama's got the whole big portion of the cast there. And the new episodes have been really funny. So, but, I mean, on our schedule is, like, no comic stuff. And I figured this is what it was going to be.
Well, there's not really any comic book vendors there either.
Well, no, there is. I mean, there are. And Marvel and DC, it's like, we looked at the map. You can go to the Comic-Con website and see this. The main entrance, there's like DC, Image, and kind of kitty corner to them is Marvel, Dark Horse, Bowen, or no, it's not Bowen, Sideshow, Sideshow Collectibles to do all the statues and toys, Diamond. They're all right there at the entrance. And so they give you all the comic stuff up front, and then Nintendo and the video game stuff is off to the side. LucasArts has a big one off to the left. Fox. So they kind of like section off, like, here's all the TV and movies, here's the comics, here's a small press. And then they do have a decent-sized vendors and dealer room, but it's going to be very few comics. It's going to mostly be
merchandise and
toys and T-shirts. And I don't know, do the guys that sell the swords go there? Probably. But, I mean, it's going to be fun. I'm really excited in my first year there, and, I wish I had gone 20 years ago when it was a comic book convention. But, hey, what can you do?
Yeah, exactly. And there is a group hopefully getting together to track you down and take you out and get you chicaned.
The only chance that may happen is Thursday night. There's an 80s club that's way north in the city that we're probably going to try to go to that's nowhere near the convention center. So if that's...
what's the club called?
It is called Club 80s.
Club 80s?
They play nothing but 90s and modern techno. I'm joking. It's an 80s club. Because it's called Club 80s. I mean, if you want to go there, I'm probably going to be going there. So that'd be fun. But other than that, I mean, when you're going to get me drunk? I'm going to be there. You're going to get me drunk at the zoo? No. I'll go be in the convention center the rest of the time. They probably don't take too kindly to forcefully making people drunk in the convention center.
You never know.
And then I'll be going home. So good luck with that, Brock.
Hey,
Maybe next year, me and you could take a trip down there, and we'll have an official comic conspiracy party, after party drink up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Then it'd be okay.
We'll actually have press badges.
Then it'd be okay.
Okay.
I don't need a press badge.
Yeah, whatever. Get Ryan drunk if you can.
Drunk on fanboy fuel?
No, not fanboy fuel. Booze. The liquor.
Well, so, assuming I survive the con and don't have the con plague like it did after WonderCon, maybe we'll do a post. And especially if Brock is going to be working 6 of the 7 days here.
Oh, God.
We'll definitely do a post-WonderCon or a post-Comic-Con episode when Brock is back to work and I am
because I'm
alive.
Yeah, I can't justify it. Even though I've talked about this since you decided to go at the beginning of the year, like 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
And I've constantly said that I needed to work. I would probably have to work 2 out of the 4 days. Now I might have to work all 4 days. I'm going to be here Monday of that week, Tuesday of that week, Thursday of that week, which the store will actually open late.
Yeah.
Because of that. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, my girlfriend's going to kill me. Like, she's going to kill me before I even wake up on Monday if I come in on Monday.
Well, like I said, hopefully we have the new employee and everything's set up properly, so you at least get a couple of those days off.
I don't mind working them. I don't mind working them. Yeah. It's the home.
Sure. I get that. So, Steve, if you're around and you see me, come say hey. I'll be around Saturday and Sunday. He also asks, what's a good place to check price on comic books I own? And when I say comic books, I'm talking trades and hardcovers. Okay, I wish I'd actually finished reading the sentence before I decided to read this on the air. Well, if you want to check prices on comic books, there's 2 really good ways to do it.
Yeah.
One, Overstreet Price Guide, which is a bi-yearly now. It's not every year.
It's
I think it's every other year. Or every, 18 months. Because it definitely hasn't been coming out every year now. It's a big, oversized book. Oversized? That this company called Overstreet puts out. They've been going for 40-some-odd years now. Mostly focused
even the originals of those are worth money.
They say the originals of those are worth money. Yeah. In their own book, they guide their own books. So it's like, that's kind of shady. But they are probably the only price guide. They are now the only price guide for comic books out there. They focus mostly on older stuff. They will list new stuff, but there's no value to anything current. So, no. I mean, occasional books like Walking Dead and Ultimate Spider-Man they'll have in there, but not for what they actually sell for prices. Because the books come out yearly, so they can't say up to date. But I will always tell you the only place worth a damn looking to see if your books are worth anything is eBay.
Yep.
And under the completed auction listing, because that is what someone has actually paid for the comic. So this goes to trades, hardcovers, single issues, Silver Age, Golden Age, CGC books, anything.
Amazon's also good for trades. Well, if you're kind of looking for a general ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, we list a lot of trades on Amazon, a lot of out-of-print stuff. Some out-of-print trades go for some serious cash, whether they actually, they're listed for some serious cash. I have a bunch up there that I'm like, ooh, and never sell. Yeah. So we'll see. I can't really guarantee.
Yeah, it's go for. What's that one that goes for a shit ton of money? Oh, yeah, Legion Volume 8, right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wish I had one of those.
Yeah, I wish somebody would get off their asses and look at their local comic book shop for the $50 copy that's sitting on the shelf that nobody cares about.
Are you talking about you? Or are you talking about our fabulous listeners?
Our fabulous listeners.
Legion of Superheroes Archives Volume 8 from DC Comics.
If you find it somewhere randomly in the stacks and you get it for a reasonable price.
$50-$60.
Yeah.
I would like it. Brock's trying to get me I can finish my Legion run.
Exactly. Cool. I'm trying to help you out here.
Thank you.
I don't hate you all the time.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest things with comic book price guides and the pricing of comic books in general. I mean, Brock, you've seen a little bit of this since you've been working in the store. Yeah. People come in with boxes of stuff saying, oh, this stuff's all worth a ton of money. No, we have boxes of everything that you have, and we don't want it. We want you to throw them away or throw them in the bins. It's like we sell books for $1 during a lot of our sales. We'll put stuff out in quarter bins. We'll sell stuff in sets for $1 or 75 cents an issue. If the book was published from 1980 to now, don't even bother. Because there's a handful of books worth some money, but overall...
There's a few keys in those years, but it's nothing.
Overall, there's nothing. Yeah. So, when you come up with let's say even a run of Amazing Spider-Man, okay, Spider-Man 300 is worth something, but I got 3 copies. It's the first appearance of Venom. Or I got 2 copies or something. Even the books that are quote-unquote valuable, people still have them.
Yeah.
So if someone says, oh, this book's worth $100, well, first of all, you're not going to get $100 for it from a store or from anyone. You're not likely to get $50 from a store or from most people because, again, these books are out there. You can look at what a book guide's for. When you go on eBay, I've sold tons of non-key issues and more recent key books from the last 20, 30 years. And they'll guide for $50 and I'll sell them for $3-4 on eBay because that's what they go for.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's one of those things where I've been watching a lot of those comic book documentaries, like the Secret Origins of DC and like the History Channel's Superheroes Unmasked. And the reason why a lot of those comic books, the Silver Age, Bronze Age, and Golden Age, were so much is one, at the time they weren't collectibles.
Well, Right. I mean, the main thing is the need outstrips the demand, outstrips the supply.
And I mean, you've told me this before, but those comics are printed in the millions.
Some of them, yeah, absolutely. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Right.
And it's one of those things where also comic books went through like a purging, kind of like a Fahrenheit 451, where, I mean, kids were taking their comic books back. So for the paper for the war effort, they had, they threw comic books away during the horror comics trials, and stuff like that, and where where we got the approved by the comic code
stuff,
Fritz aboard them, So you have all of these books that are being thrown away.
Well, to go even one step further than that, I mean, newspapers, magazines, comics, all these things, right? The theme or the theory of collectible for these type of material never existed. Even into the 80s, some of these old books were worth hundreds of dollars that are now worth tens of thousands, if not $1 million+ bucks. Mm-hmm. What's happened is you've got more people that are older collectors with some serious cash to throw around, and the amount of people that want these books at various grades, the older they get, the harder these books become to find. We had one of our customers for a long time. He grew up back east. He's older gentleman. He grew up when these books were coming out. He lived near one of the actual printing plants for Fawcett Comics, who did Captain Marvel. He would buy the new books off the stand and then take them back and trade them 2 for 1 for other books, other comics to the vendor. So he would go back. He would buy one, bring one, trade for one, buy one more, bring those 2 back, trade for one, buy, so he would always trade them. So you had these people that were trading comics. Kids would read them for 2-3 years, throw them away. They never cared. They went off to war. Their parents threw them away. These books were not, they were, maybe AOL discs will one day be worth money because, everyone threw them away. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but it's one of those crazy things. Like, the only reason they're worth money is because people threw them away. Right? And they are totally destroyed, and there's so few existing. Even Superman Action Comics #1, there's like 30 or 40 known copies to exist in any sort of reasonable grade. And, that's why the book goes for millions of dollars.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's probably other copies out there.
Oh, they find copies every couple of years. A copy will pop up. But I mean, when you have thousands of collectors that want them, I mean, there are books in the recent years that are worth some money. Something like Walking Dead #1. It's such a low print run. It doesn't matter how many copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300 there is, just because in a case like that, Amazing Spider-Man was a high printed book, even though it's quote unquote worth money. The amount of books they publish on that were way high. Mm-hmm. Something like Walking Dead #1 has a seriously low print run. Only a couple thousand copies of that book was printed. That's an actual book worth money because the demand way outstrips the supply. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, it's. I mean, go ahead and back to the question. Yeah, eBay, a great place to go. Completed listings. Yeah, I mean, it's a good place.
Only place worth
looking. Honestly, if you're looking to get rid of your books. I mean, runs. I mean, at this point, unless you're.
Well, he was asking about trades. It's one of those things because we've actually got a used trade paperback section here where we sell stuff half off. With few exception though, don't collect comics to make money unless you're willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on Silver Age titles. I mean, anything recent, you're not going to get back what you paid for it. So don't even think you are. In order for a store to turn a profit, in order for a store to stay in business, we could pay 5 cents, 10 cents for a book at max for anything current. It's just the way it works. If you take a record back to a store, you paid $20 for it or $15 for it, you bring it back, you're going to get $1 or $2. That's just the way it works because the odds of them selling it right away, very little. So, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, if you're going to sell your books, eBay.
Yeah. eBay, sell them yourself.
Do it yourself. Sell it yourself.
On Craigslist. If you're going to sell it to a store, I mean, I buy books all the time. I'm happy to buy them, but I tell people your best bet's on eBay, where you're going to get the money yourself. But that's work. Mm-hmm. So if you just want to get rid of them, stores will always take them. You can put them up on Amazon. You got to ship them. You got to deal with customers when they're mad at you. So we're paid to deal with customers. So that's why it's okay. I'll take the risk. I'll take the money. I'll take the books, but yeah, it's hard. I mean, I turn away collections so many times where people are like, "Oh, but these are worth so much more," and it's like,
well,
yeah, but I got to sell them.
Good example is that guy that came in like a year ago and had that box full of like Frank Miller, Daredevil with No More Mr. Nice Guy with the gun cover.
Oh yeah,
and there was like
20, 30
copies, and then he had like 15 copies of still in the poly bag Death of Superman.
Right.
And there was that golden Wildcats #1 variant that like was $100 when it came out.
Well, we got a box of Uncanny 281 first appearance of Bishop. Like, we got a short box of that stuff, and people are like, "Oh, this book's worth money." It's like, not really. I got a box of this stuff. I'm not even from trying, just because everyone bought 5 copies. So, yeah. Well, let's move on, Brock. I heard you watched possibly the greatest movie of all time this weekend.
Oh, you're whack.
Was it better than Green Lantern?
Was it better than Green Lantern? No.
Okay.
No, it was worse.
So why don't you?
But it's also
tell the tale.
In last week's episode, we talked about the death of
Gene Colan,
and he was the creator of Howard the Duck. So
co-creator. Yeah.
So Netflix actually released the app for the Android, so you could stream movies on your phone now. So I was like,
nice.
Awesome. So,
as a new Android phone user, I should get this.
It's amazing. Like, you know, what's funny is that my girlfriend got an iPhone 4.
Yeah.
And so we have an extra Incredible. So I called and said, "Can I just wireless this?" And they said, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we use I'm like, you can use it to take pictures. You can use it to go on the internet. It's like a small tablet in the house, and everyone looks at me like I'm a freak. I'm like, what?
Yeah. No. Works.
But I streamed Howard the Duck over my Incredible over the weekend.
Nice.
And that movie is horrid. It is bad beyond belief, and the best
really
part,
you don't say.
The best part is it's 80s bad beyond belief.
Hey,
like,
so you mean awesome?
Oh hell no! Like, it's
now I have not seen this. God, when did that come out?
80 something
real early.
Let me IMDb help us.
Let me take a look here.
So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, how the costume was great, even though he didn't have a throat. Like, there was no opening for a throat in his costume, so it was just a bill that rounded down, so it looked like an actual rubber ducky. That mouth moved.
Tim Robbins.
Yeah, Tim Robbins is in that movie.
Yeah,
the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the principal.
Yeah.
He's in that. And then what's her name from?
Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson's in it. Yeah, it's. Movie is and
I have not seen this. I don't want to say it's been 1986 is when I saw it, but it was.
It's been a long time.
I was very young. I very minimal memory of this movie.
I think this movie started the guy in CSI.
Okay,
the one in Vegas, the actual CSI show. The guy that plays the detective, the bald-headed detective guy in that show. Have you ever seen CSI?
No.
There's a guy who played the bald-headed detective in that. He's the detective in in this movie.
Lieutenant Wilker?
Yeah, Lieutenant Wilker.
Paul Guilfoyle?
Yeah. He's like the same he's the CSI? Same character in CSI. It's hilarious.
He was in Air Force One too.
Air Force One.
Yeah, he's in a lot of CSI stuff.
Yeah. Well, he's a recurring character.
He played Travis Morgan, the Warlord, in the Justice League animated show.
Nice. So yeah, Howard the Duck.
Secret Asian man. He was Secret Agent Man too.
Nice.
This guy just likes playing
cops,
tough guys. Yeah.
He's a tough. Yeah, Howard the Duck, abysmal film.
Yeah,
horrible.
So, what made you? Was it just because?
Just because we had talked about.
We talked about it.
You know, Gene, Steve and Gerber. He created.
Because Steve Gerber, who's the main kind of creator, Howard the Duck was kind of his thing. Yeah. Steve Gerber. I mean, he died a number of years ago. He was actually working on DC. If I remember correctly, he was working on DC's. Dr. Fate miniseries at the time, and the last issue that came out was actually written by 3 different writers that took his kind of script and put their own spin on it, sort of finished the series off in their own sort of way, sort of a tribute to him. But yeah, then Gene Colan did a lot of the work and a lot of the artwork on it, and so yeah.
So I decided to watch Howard the Duck because I was like, I'd never actually seen the movie.
Yeah.
And now I know why I've never actually seen the movie.
It's one of those things that you should. Maybe worth watching from time, once in a while if you haven't seen it in modern day. But yeah, I couldn't.
And you know what the worst part is? It's a Lucas film.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
it
was a huge. I mean, it was a colossal bomb for them.
Oh, I don't know
I don't know what Lucas had actually to do with it. I mean, he didn't direct it. Maybe I think it was I think it was a
producer.
But I mean, it was a huge bomb.
Cleveland, Ohio. So,
oof. Yeah, Howard the Duck, classic.
Yeah, I know,
classic. So, where do you rate Howard the Duck on the Dark Knight is the best and Catwoman is the worst scale? Is it right there with Catwoman?
Oh yeah, it's like Catwoman's a better film.
So I've decided for many years I've been talking about this. Now I know you like to make fun of me for watching the first Twilight movie.
I'm just waiting for your gay ass to watch the next two.
I have to watch 2 and 3.
I'm sorry, I'm using gay as a derogatory term there, but
I have to watch 2 and 3 to get to the Peter Murphy sequence. Peter Murphy being lead singer of Bauhaus, one of my favorite bands.
Just make sure when you watch those, you're wearing your skinny jeans.
Oh, okay, I'll try. So you in skinny jeans today. I'm going to do a back-to-back of Dragon Ball Evolution and Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, and now I think we may have to do a Howard the Duck, Catwoman, Elektra back-to-back-to-back day, because I've never actually watched Catwoman or Elektra.
You haven't?
No, I've never seen them.
Why?
I praised myself for years, saying I've seen every single movie that, to the best of my knowledge, that had been in theaters or been on TV.
So you haven't watched Catwoman or Elektra, and yet you watched Batman and Robin twice?
I had the
theaters.
I had the tickets.
You could have returned them.
I don't. It's fine. The movie's not that bad.
Seriously?
It's not that bad.
Seriously?
It's
Dude,
not.
You lie to yourself more than anybody I know.
Oh, it's not good, but I'm saying it's not Catwoman or Elektra bad, and I've never even seen them, and I can tell you how bad those movies are. But so the thing is this, like, Howard the Duck. Maybe have to get into this marriage. Maybe I'll do Catwoman and Elektra back to back, and Howard the Duck with another bad '80s
sci-fi like
comic
Kroll?
Movie that I've never seen
like
or I haven't seen in a long time. I haven't seen. I've never watched Carl.
You never? Oh man, it's bad.
No. One of these days I'll watch it. So, good movies, good times. What else have we got to talk today?
Your folly.
I have a success and a folly. I'll talk about my folly first. Not much to talk about except I geniusly CGC'd a second print. Now, I'll explain what this is.
And you tell me to always check that little thing on the bottom. Make sure it doesn't say, it says first print, not second.
This is different. This is different than that. So here's my story. So for those of you who don't know, there's a company called CGC, where the Comic Guarantee Corporation, sounds right. They take your comics, they slab them, they put them in this sealed plastic, and they give you a grade from a 0.5 up to a 10.0.
It's like what they used to do with baseball cards.
Well, they still do it with baseball cards.
They still do it, but they do it for comics.
Right. The older books at the super high end go for some ridiculous amounts of money. If you have, let's say, an Action Comics #1, the 8.0 sold for $1 million. The 8.5 copy sold for $1.5 million. So a 0.5 grade difference got an extra $500,000, right? So, I mean, you could imagine if there was like a 9.2 or a 9.4. The books go up to a 0.5 up to 9. So, 0.5, 1, 1.52, up to a 9, 9.2468, 9.9, and 10.0. So there's no other grades in between. A lot of people are like, I have a 9.3. It's like, that doesn't exist. But when you get to those super high grades, the books go crazy through the roof. Well, a year or two ago, I bought a copy of Blue Beetle #1, the old 60s Charlton, the original, not the original from like the 30s or 40s when it first came around.
The 35-cent one.
It was an old, that's another tipping off point, and I'll get to this in a second. It was also the first appearance of The Question.
Yeah.
This book was published in 1966. I don't know how I missed it. But this book, so I've been wanting to get this book graded for a while, because this book was beautiful condition, absolutely beautiful shape, one of the best I've seen for an old book, and I'm like, wow, this book's amazing. So we finally got it graded. It came back at 9.4, and I'm like, wait a minute, why does it say 1977 on it? This came out in the 60s. I think it was 66. I'm looking up, and I'm like, what is this? Turns out, in the 70s, a company called Modern Comics had reprinted the first 6 issues of Blue Beetle. Everything is exactly the same, except for the cover price and the logo in the corner. I don't know how I overlooked this, but this is a colossal, epic failure on my part. and I'm like kicking myself. Like I've got tons of books graded. I mean, we've done this before. I mean, I price all this old stuff all the time. I got the books back today, and I'm like, what? And I look up at the price guide. It's worth like $3. I'm like, what?
But CGC, it's worth $20.
It's right. No, I'm seriously think I'm just going to throw this book away. I'm just going to crack it open and throw it away.
Dude, we should just frame it as the Higgins Folly.
Maybe I'll give it away as a podcast.
We could
as a prize
for the podcast.
Yeah.
We should save it for a prize.
Yeah, Higgins Folly.
We actually figure out how to have a contest.
Higgins Folly is what we're going to call this. Like, I don't know how I screwed this up, but man, I mean, I've failed epically before, but this is a high point in my epic failure.
Yeah, we'll have to keep it for the contest prizes that we'll eventually have, hopefully.
I feel so stupid. I was like, man, like this is my business, this is my job, and I can't believe I overlooked this such a clear mistake on my part. And it was like, oh man, killing me. But my success, though, and I didn't get to talk about this last week. We meant to. Was I finally got my bound set of the new Warriors in.
Yes, you did.
There's a company based out of San Francisco called Harrington and Robinson. I believe that's what it's called. I can grab the info later. They do comic binding. There's a whole bunch of companies that do this. I got turned on to this a couple years ago, but the company that was doing it at the time called Library Binding had been going through some changes. They kind of fell apart, but there's a new company. All these other companies can do it for you. But we got hooked up with these guys at the SuperCon, which was in
Big Wow
Comic Fest, which was in San Jose this past week, or past couple months ago. So you send your books in, they strip off the edge, they take off the staples, they bind your books in whichever fashion you want them to into actual nice hardcover, leather-bound books, style and detail on the
very
side.
library-esque.
Oh, I mean, bookbinding has obviously existed for hundreds of years, but these companies they tend to bind textbooks.
It's like the magazine binding that you see at like schools.
Right. They do it a lot of time. Libraries get a lot of stuff rebound if their copies get destroyed. But these guys have made a killing getting comic books bound. So you can put the comics in any sort of order you want. You give them to them. They bind them. They're in beautiful hardcover. They cut them so everything looks perfect. These things are awesome. There's a couple pictures on my Twitter account. Maybe I'll post them in the picture for this episode. But just fantastic.
Yeah, and you got 5 volumes.
Yeah,
for the New Wars, and it was about $23 a piece.
Yeah. They were like a little over $20 a piece per book.
And the shipping was only.
I mean, it came to like $25 a book after shipping and everything. Yeah, so it was like 125 bucks, somewhere around that range. So, the books look beautiful. I would highly recommend this. I'm not going to do it for anything modern, but if you have older series, things you know are never going to be collected, things you've got in a quarter box, sets you just have sitting around 15 to 20 issues is sort of the max size. You don't want to go too much higher than that because the book tends to get larger and they do charge more, and it tends to get a little unwieldy. One of the volumes, because of the annuals that we put in there, ended up becoming about the size of one of the Marvel omnibuses.
Yeah.
But you're talking, this cost me $23, $24. The Marvel omnibuses cost $100. So even though it was just the New Warriors...
The only thing we noticed when they did it, I mean, there's a lot of ads that you can't get rid of.
Of course.
And there's a couple ads, especially with Marvel, where they had that back cover that bent. And remember, you had it got bound together, so there was this weird...
I found one cover, at least so far, where the back cover was a fold-out, and it got the fold-out page got bound into the binding, so you can't fold the page out. So if you have gatefold pages, normally they're put in properly, but if you have any gatefold pages that go to the staple, you need to kind of move that around and refold it. Because basically they bind it exactly the way you gave it to them. If you screw up, that's on you, not them.
Yeah.
So, but if anyone's local and they want to see these books, you can also go on their sites or if you just type up comic binding, the first page, you should get something, a thread on one of the comic forums. Where there's a whole thread of people have posted their libraries of bound books, and they are beautiful.
I'm actually going to do my Booster Gold original series, which is never going to be collected in trade, and it's a quarter book anyway, quarter bin thing anyway. And my Batman and the Outsiders, the original 2 volumes of it, because those are never going to get collected in trades. Yeah. And I've never actually read them, and I'd like to read them. It's my favorite comic. So
you've never read them, but they're your favorite comic.
It's that nostalgia thing. It's
I've
read enough.
You've
Batman
read bits of them.
Yeah, I've read bits here and there. I mean, I got the showcase for Batman and the Outsiders.
You've just not sat down and read them in order.
Yeah.
New Warriors, I mean, it's one of those books, again, where they've done a few of these classic trades, but, you know, I mean, they're not going to go more than through issue 25, because that's when the original creative team stopped working on it. Mark Bagley, who went on to do Ultimate Spider-Man, tons of other books. Derek Robertson. I'm sorry, it was not Mark Bagley. It was because Derek Robertson is who took over.
Yeah.
After that, so or is it Derek Robertson too?
I do not know this.
No, Mark Bagley did it first, then Derek Robertson. Man, getting all my New Warrior stuff confused here.
You're in a Higgins fart.
Yeah, Fabian Nicieza. I mean, he still wrote the book for a number of years, but not for that much longer. They'll go through the first 25, but there's no way they're collecting the rest of it. So.
No, it's just that older stuff. It's nice to kind of just read in a chunk,
and that's what I was going to say. It's been years since I got to go through and read the whole series, and now that I got all the crossovers set up, because I never really reread the last maybe 2 years of the book. They did crossovers with like the Scarlet Spider stuff, and I'm like, well, might as well throw them in there. They're the actual crossover books, so I took all those, put those in there. Around about 100 issues when everything's said and done between the annuals and the crossovers. Yeah. So it's good.
No. Not bad.
Yeah, fun stuff. Totally worth doing if you've got some comics you wanna dump. So and move into this format. Don't do it for anything expensive, personally, but that's just me.
It actually does condense the space down too, because they do press.
Well, and books. When you lose the staples,
you lose the
bag and board,
and the bag and board.
Right.
Also, they do trim a little bit off of the pages around.
If you want them to, they will. You don't have to.
I thought you had it.
I did have them trimmed.
Oh, okay.
But you can keep them untrimmed. The problem is, if you remember, for a couple of years, Marvel shrunk their comic size.
Yeah, they shrunk their comic size.
Brought it back up in more recent years. Be very careful, because if you do it around that time, you may lose some of the artwork and some of the text.
So, like for Booster Gold and Batman Outsiders, I don't need to...
No, you'd be fine.
I just need to... They'll do the trim for the edge.
They'll trim just to keep everything uniform, but you shouldn't have any trouble because of the way they cut and everything. Yeah, it should look beautiful. So.
I don't know. Should I get it thread bound or glued?
You know, I went the glue. A lot of people were saying they like the thread, but the thread you can see.
Okay.
The glue, to me, looks more professional. The thread will last longer in theory. The glue can dry out. The glue can become brittle. It can fall apart, but you can always get it. I think you can get them rebound, and they're not as much. I don't think it's as expensive. If it's just the binding comes undone, you can get them rebound. But yeah, I mean, I prefer the glue, but because I think it looks better than the thread bound. But you can do it either way. So seems like more hardcore prefer the thread because I think it lasts longer.
Yeah,
I think the glue looked better. So yeah.
Cool deal.
Was that it?
No, we have to talk about some Iron Fist thing.
Yeah, the only very little news this week as we're coming up towards San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, we had 4th of July.
So there will, long weekend.
Long weekend, and then this is kind of like the lull afterwards. Yeah,
one of the big sounds like kind of preview announcements for San Diego is that Marvel's going to be launching a new Iron Fist series, which, I don't know, Brock, did you ever read the one they came out with a couple years ago?
I want to read, I haven't read the Brubaker one they came out with. I want to read it, but I haven't gotten a chance to.
Brubaker and Matt Fraction, art by, is it Aja?
Probably.
Yeah, the guy's incredible. So there's going to be a new Iron Fist series coming out. It looks like they're going to officially announce it at San Diego. But that's kind of not why we're talking about this. Now, Brock, you tend to be rude and crass.
Yeah, well, I'm always rude and crass. There's not this 10 bullshit. No. Who's writing it?
I don't think it does.
It doesn't say that. Okay, so right now we're only discussing the tagline.
So this tagline, to me, the first time I read this, I had to take a huge double take because I'm like, did it really say that? So the tagline for this book is, it's either in you or it's not. Now, I mean, I get where they're going with that either you have the Iron Fist, either you have the power of the Iron Fist, or you don't. But when you say The Iron Fist is either in you or it's not. Marvel editors, you may want to rethink that tagline for your title.
To paraphrase, it's either you're fucked or you're not.
Yeah. I don't want the Iron Fist in me.
I don't want it in me either.
I don't think anyone wants
I don't want it in anybody else.
Yeah.
That's just gross.
Yeah. This is not a news story. This is just a humorous thing that we caught today.
Well, maybe Marvel's advertising a new porn line.
Maybe
Iron Fist is the first one of this porn series.
Well, are they just like, well, we're just going to Iron Fist all our customers? So
they pretty much do that anyway.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm wondering. So $3.99, the Iron Fist.
We're drawing the line at $3.99. We're throwing the Iron Fist.
So, geez, Marvel, don't have someone to edit this, man. Like, do you have copy editors or something? How did this get past?
Okay,
how did this get past editorial?
Hulk shit list.
Yeah. Just someone looking at going, it's either in you.
Well, no, they're owned by Disney now, so we're going to see all of this stuff, right? You're gonna look in panels and see little people fucking in the background, and there's going to be
like Van Sciver. Back when he was drawing X-Men, new X-Men, the Grant Morrison one, he stuck the word sex onto every page in one issue. So it was a preemptive Disney.
This is true. What issue was that?
I don't remember what issue number. I don't remember. It was he only did a handful of issues, so I'll figure it out. I'll find out for you.
But yeah.
So yeah, Iron Fist. Congratulations on the new Iron Fist series. The old one was awesome. Hopefully this one's as good.
Congratulations on the new Iron Man. Iron Fist. Dude, I am not congratulating you on the tagline.
No.
Fix that shit.
Yes, change that tagline now, please, Iron Fist, because that's no good. I already know what's going to say on the
T-shirt,
on the episode description.
The Iron Fist is in me.
No, Iron Fisting.
Iron Fisting.
Yeah. So.
Iron Fisting.
We got to earn that explicit tag.
God, jeez.
So let's move on. Brock, you got some random pick of the week.
No.
Nice and short episode this week. We'll keep it well under an hour.
There's nothing wrong. That's it.
We're done.
We're done.
That's it.
That's all we're talking about.
I got to get home to my
your damaged, your superhero fight villain damaged house, whatever.
Yeah.
My random pick of this week is I'm going to stick with Vertigo since I did Preacher.
Yeah.
Why Last Man?
Cool.
Written by Brian Azzarello. Drawn by.
Did you say Why the Last Man was written?
No, sorry, not Brian Azzarello. It's Brian
K. Vaughan.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. It was a Brian. And drawn by. Who's the artist on that one?
Oh. The main.
The main.
Sorry. The main artist is Pia Guerrero.
Yeah, Pia Guerrero, which awesome art.
Yeah, she's really good.
Why Last Man? Basically, all the men on planet Earth, all the males on planet Earth die, and I mean every species of male dies, except for this one guy and his monkey.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy and his monkey are left to roam a all-female planet, and it's honestly, when I read this a friend of mine told me about this book years ago when I wasn't into comic books, and let me borrow it, and I couldn't even get it through the first trade.
Really?
Like I couldn't. Like I read it, and it was just like no. And then when I came back to the shop, I picked it up and kept reading, and I was like, you know what? I'll give this a try again. So I read it, and the second I read it, like I got through past what I was reading before, I flew through this book. It's 10 volumes, and it's amazing book that Vertigo put out. You can actually get it in two types now. You can get it in trade, which I think average about $14.99 a piece. And then you can get like these nice hardcover editions have come out, which I haven't actually picked up yet, but I'd like to. They go for about $30 a piece, and I think there's 5 out now, and I think there's only going to be 5. My only problem with picking it up is I'd want the first printing of each one, and they've so far no longer been first prints. Why are you staring at your headphones like a weird man?
Sorry.
You're going to hit yourself in the face with them again?
No, I don't want to. Sorry, my headphone is being weird.
So, yeah, Why Last Man? Real awesome book. I mean, I read those 10 trades as fast as you could get them in. Cool. Because that was the one problem is like I started reading it, and then there wasn't like one here or one trade here, and I have to wait for you to order it. That sucked. That's why I suggest if anybody gets into a series, just order in bulk. It's the easier way to go. If you're going to read if you pick up the first Preacher trade and love it, or the first Y Last Man trade and love it, just buy the rest of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it just put down the money to invest in all of the books and get them all.
What I tell you, there's a couple books, Preacher, kind of like that, Fables, a lot, Walking Dead, where I sell one and I'm like, back for the rest, and they always come back for the rest.
Well, funny thing, I always sell DMZ that way.
Yeah.
And it's, it's like, if you're going to get it, then just go to your local shop, or when you're online, just order them in bulk.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you're going to be waiting, and it sucks. And, I mean, granted, shipping of comic books has gotten better this year, but our week-to-week shipping has gotten better, but reordering is worse now.
Well, especially to the West Coast stores, they changed around some of the shipping because we're all getting it out of an East Coast warehouse now. So basically, if I order a book on Monday, I'm not seeing it till not the following Wednesday, but like the Wednesday after that.
It's like
sometimes.
a 2-week delay.
Yeah, it's really bad. So, give your comic stores some leeway, especially if they're west of the Mississippi, because the shipping on from Diamond's been very slow, unless you want to go for direct shipping, which costs a lot more, and therefore your comic store makes less money, which is no good. So
yeah.
I'm going to recommend this week. We're talking about Iron Fist. I actually wanted to recommend the new Heroes for Hire comic. Have you been checking that out?
No.
Abnett and Lanning.
Yeah.
We've talked about Dan.
I gave Heroes for Hire a try around World War Hulk. So
different Heroes for Hire title. So I've liked this book since they relaunched it. I liked Iron Fist, but I was never a huge Heroes for Hire fan. The concept never really did a whole lot for me. But a handful of months ago, 6-8 months ago, they relaunched with a new title. Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning did a new Heroes for Hire title. The original pitch for this book was that Power Man and Iron Fist were paid kind of mercenaries, where people would pay them to come in and protect them. Of course, like most superhero books, they end up just becoming, regular heroes most of the time, but the whole concept of you still going to get paid sort of was the reason a lot of heroes kind of look down on them, because why are you getting paid for this? Well, this is a concept they've gone through a couple times and rebooted, and it's never really been super successful. But recently, they just launched this new title, again by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. Oh yeah, actually the very first trade came out this week. Brock's grabbing it right now. That's actually what I was looking for. So the first trade is out now. It's called
Control.
It's called Control. All right. So basically, the pitch on this new series is that Misty Knight, who was one time...
Whoa. That's the chick with the afro?
Yeah, Misty Knight. Yeah.
The black chick with the afro is called Misty Knight?
Yeah, she's an old Iron Fist does
she have
character.
the Iron Fist in her?
She probably sometimes has because she was her and Iron Fist were dating for a while. So, she went out with Iron Fist for a handful of years. Yeah, actually, first appearance was in Marvel Team Up #1. Interesting, I didn't know that. Her and her friend Colleen Wing, they were Iron Fist kind of support characters on and off throughout the years.
They were supporting the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Come on, guy.
So Misty Knight has started up this new. She's basically become Marvel's Oracle. Okay. She's set herself up as the hero she calls out to all the other heroes and be like, "Are you for hire tonight?" Not in a we actually get to get paid sort of way.
Dude, anything spawning from Iron Fist right now is turning into porn.
Oh, I know.
Are you for hire?
Are you for hire? But she's like, hey, so she's going back, she's calling through a bunch of characters like Shang-Chi, Black Cat, Paladin, Spider-Man, all these characters kind of going, hey, there's something happening, we need you over here. Which is, a very Oracle-like from the DC Comics, the Batman universe, Oracle. Of course, there's a great kind of shock little twist at the end of the first issue, and then after the first arc, they move on with the storyline from there. But Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, these guys, I've liked just about everything they do. So I like this book. We'll see where it goes. 12, 24 issues from now, but for this first arc, it's been good. Control, it's just the first arc, first 5 issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said?
First 5 issues, yeah.
So that came out in trade recently.
This week.
This past week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you may want to check that out if this concept sounds cool. I kind of like these books that are more... Not always the Avengers and the JLA. I like these kind of quirky team books. We were sorting through a bunch of new books we got in recently, and I found a big stack of... it was called Marvel Knights. It was a Marvel Knights team book.
Yeah.
Marvel had a series called
Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Punisher and Spider-Man.
I don't think Spider-Man was on it.
Yeah, it was Spider-Man.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't think he was a main member on Marvel Knights.
Well, then it was only 3 because it was Daredevil, Punisher, and...
Well, there was a whole...
And Ghost Rider.
No, because I know Cloak and Dagger were in it, and there was all of Marvel's kind of weird... I think Daredevil was in it too. A lot of the kind of Marvel Knights characters, where Marvel had this imprint called Marvel Knights, and they kind of rebooted a number of their franchises.
Widow was one of those.
I think Black Widow may have been on the team too. Even though the book was god-awful, the concept of the book was cool, and I like this. And this is sort of like another take on that, where you get a lot of D and C-list characters getting together. Of course, you were talking about the New Warriors earlier, and the Outsiders that I do like. These are not your main characters, but I do like these team.
Well, it's also like Rebels for,
sure, absolutely.
It's like the Legion spinoff is Rebels and...
Well, Heroes for Hire and Legion, right? Very, very kind of similar concept, Heroes for Hire. So...
How is the Legion for Hire?
The Legion is a paid... Vril Dox is like...
they're paid to protect.
Yeah, they're for hire.
Not for hire.
They absolutely
people
are.
Pay? I didn't catch that out of the book.
Well, the original...
Oh, the original
Legion.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the new stuff, they kind of gloss over that, and they don't really go into it, and it's sort of a different series, but it's the old character, so they still called it Rebels based off the older series, but...
Well, I guess I'll have to borrow this.
Oh, God. Okay, so don't buy our copy, because Brock's going to borrow it. Buy another copy.
Spoil it.
Ew.
Hey, if I like it, I'm just going to say I kept it.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll clock in here a little under an hour. Brock, you got any parting words?
I'm hopefully going to be having a Lord of the Rings extended...
Did you already have one of those?
Yeah, I already had one of those.
Okay, good.
I'm hopefully going to be having a Lord of the Rings extended cut Blu-ray experience soon. My girlfriend, despite me saying it's okay, said, I'm buying you something, so I got Lord of the Rings, the extended cut trilogy on Blu-ray.
Excellent.
So
probably picked that up around Christmas or something.
Yeah, she kind of just shoved it down my throat and said, I'm buying you something.
Hey, now.
I'm like, okay. Because that's in me.
She didn't buy you the Iron Fist.
I know. Well, I was debating between like Burn Notice Season 4 and that, because when we were at the Best Buy, and she's like, and I'm like, yeah, but I got $10 to Amazon, and I can get Burn Notice for like, with cheap shipping for $20.98.
Burn Notice Season 4 got some hate over in the Geek Box, our other podcast, so don't listen to the haters. Season 4 is okay. Jesse's all right.
I worked with Jesse.
Yeah, I know. You remember you telling us that.
So that's actually in the mail on the way. Burn Notice. I ordered it on Amazon instead of buying it from Best Buy for $30. I decided to.
It's not about comic books at all. You're fired.
Oh, not about comic books at all.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
How's Lord of the Rings not about comic books? You know how many comic books have been made of Lord of the Rings?
Like one. The Hobbit series from, I don't even remember what company did that. They did a comic based off like the animated movie a couple 25, 30 years ago or something like that. It's actually who the hell does Northlanders and DMC?
Brian Wood.
Brian Wood. He's doing I believe it's Brian Wood. I don't think it's Ashley Wood. Pretty sure it's Brian Wood. Is doing a Lord of the Rings comic for one of the games.
Oh wow!
It's going to be like a insert into one of the games.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's kind of cool.
Oh, and on comic books being converted from books, they're with this big Game of Thrones push.
Yeah.
They're doing
Game of Thrones comic too.
They're doing a Game of Thrones comic.
Yeah, Dynamite's gonna have that. So that should be cool. We'll talk about that when it comes in. So
yeah.
I'm almost
I really enjoyed the series so far.
Yeah,
I'm on book 3.
Oh, you're that far?
Yeah, Clash of Kings.
Yeah,
man, that book is huge.
Yeah,
it's almost 1,000 pages.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm still a few episodes from the end of the first season, but it's awesome. The show's amazing. So.
I can't wait to buy that. Yeah, that's a definite buy on Blu-ray. Because HBO shows, it's like I want to buy, like, and watch, but
it looks amazing.
But like certain ones, I'm like, I got to get the Blu-ray.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right, we're done.
Go
ahead and end this episode here. If you like this episode, you can listen to others at www.geekbox.net, where you can find this, all our previous episodes, plus all the episodes of the Geekbox, the other episode or the other podcast
podcast
we respond from. Yeah. So you can send us some email at thecomicconspiracy@geekbox.net. You can also go on the geekbox.net site and send us some email through the contact form. It comes to both us and Geekbox, so you don't have to say who it's for. We'll understand who it's for based on the subject matter. You can go on the forums, which is forums.geekbox.net. Talk to us there. Talk in the comic threads. It's been a little quiet on the forums recently.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
Bam.
Like, our episode talk has gone to nothing on the forums.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a little. It's a lull. It's summertime. A lot of people gone. People are out.
They're not taking that Best Buy commercial to heart where that redhead's going around and has her tablet. And you haven't seen that commercial on TV?
I haven't. No. You can come to the store if you want. We're in Sunnyvale, California, 115-A East Fremont Avenue, Sunnyvale. Come say hello to me.
This is a vacation spot, whether you like it or not.
I guess Apple's right down the road. You can go worship Steve Jobs if that's what you want. You can come see us. I got nothing else.
You can check Ryan out on the tweets, Ryan Higgins Ryan.
Yeah, I'm on Ryan Higgins Ryan. I'm on the G Plus now too. You can hit me up on the Google Plus.
You know what? I guess I should just join G Plus.
It's stupid. It's Facebook. It's no different than Facebook. It's Facebook with less people and less stuff, and it's all white. It's like all this white, empty white.
Watch where you're going.
It's all this empty white space, and I'm like, it's really weird. Like, they need to fix the look.
You can't do like a theme, or
I haven't messed around with it too much, but it looks bad. Yeah, we're on Facebook too. Facebook.com/Geekbox or the Geekbox. You can find us in the Geekbox podcast on there.
Also, you can like the store.
You can like the store. You can visit Brock's blog at
conspiratorbrock.blogspot.com.
Thank you. If you don't go on the internet at all, you can delete the last 5 minutes of every episode we record because we just blab this stuff out randomly. So, yeah. We're going to go ahead and shut this podcast off now. We will see you guys next week. And then we're going to have a special post-Comic-Con episode the week after, assuming I survive and Brock survives.
Well, I survive the weekend, we get a new employee.
Yeah.
If we don't get a new employee, then
we may skip a week. Depending if I come back with the con plague, we'll see what happens. We may skip that week, but we'll see. I think we'll still record. So.
We'll try not to.
All right.
We want to be consistent for you people. Yeah. We love you.
I don't love you. Brock loves you, though.
Hey, as long as this conspiracy is in them, we're all good.
Nice. All right. We'll see you guys.